Happy birthday, Draymond Green, 35 years old, and he's rewarded with a win at Madison Square Garden. Folks, the Warriors are 9-1 in the Jimmy Butler era. The one loss, that fluky, rigged-ass game in Dallas. Times are good. The Warriors are not winning this game without Jimmy Butler. The Warriors are not winning this game earlier this season. Certainly not winning this game last year. Times are good. Let's break it all down. I've got the wrong overlay. If you're watching this on YouTube, Sophia Jones is not with me. I'm solo. Hope that's okay, folks. Let's have a good time tonight. The Warriors are victorious. Let's talk about it. Where's my open? There it is. This is the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Let's go.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you
We're going to have a new open up here soon. Almost ready. Welcome to the Golden Days. I'm your host for the evening. Yes, it is nighttime. My name is Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild. Over on Twitter, my handle is Surf Journalist. The program's on both those platforms at Golden Days Pod. And if I ever have some free time in my life to start engaging on a third social media platform, you'll see me on Blue Sky at Golden Days. But I don't know how people have time to do all that stuff. Life's crazy. Good news is, within all that craziness is some successful Golden State Warriors basketball. They are victorious tonight at Madison Square Garden. The final score, 114-102, a game where the Warriors trailed at the half. And the Knicks were playing some good basketball. OG Anunoby was hitting everything. He was a pest down low. Miles Bridges was doing his damnedest, his hardest in terms of defending Stephen Curry. But, folks, the Warriors are back. There's no way to spin it. They're a legit team. It is funny that we're at a point now where, at least me personally, if you consider yourself someone who has an emotional investment with the Golden State Warriors, we're at that point where when you see the discussions on a national level, on a macro level, pertaining to who the contenders are in the NBA, when people are not mentioning the Golden State Warriors as legitimate contenders, I don't know about you folks, but I'm at that place where it pisses me off, where I'm starting to feel some disrespect for the Golden State Warriors when they're not being considered among the game's elite. What more do you need them to do? And the crazy thing is, it's the same rhetoric we were hearing in 2022. They're not big enough. They don't got size. Steph's too old. Heard the same shit 3 years ago. Things are looking good this season. And for all those haters out there who don't think the Golden State Warriors are legitimate, shame on you. You're morons. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Plain and simple. I don't know how else to spin it. And again, the Warriors trailed in this one at the half, I believe by 10. If my math is correct. Yes, the math is. And the Warriors, despite trailing by 10 at the half, had a great third quarter where they outscored New York 35-26. And the good times continued into the fourth quarter. The Warriors outscored the Knicks 32-21. Final score, 114-102 on Draymond Green's birthday. I can assure you one thing right now. The Golden State Warriors are going to celebrate hard tonight. They have fun in New York. Stephen Curry loves that city. I know he's a homebody, but New York is an exception. The modern day Rome. Draymond Green's turning 35. That is a significant milestone in a human lifetime. You make it to 35. That's a weird place where you're like the official adult. You're I think legally allowed to run for president. You know, you're no longer considered a kid, but you're not old. It's a sweet spot in life. So congratulations to Draymond Green, again, for a big birthday. And you know the Warriors going to be celebrating big time tonight. in NYC. And for us here, we're going to celebrate the Golden State Warriors improving their overall record to 34-28. They're now 6 games above 500. This was game 4 of a 5-game road trip. The Warriors now 3-1 on this trip. They don't play tomorrow. They finish up the action Thursday in Brooklyn. And we're going to talk about the details. I'm going to post the link if anyone wants to join the show tonight. But first and foremost, got to give some love to our sponsors. And right off the bat, let's give some love to a fantastic tourist destination, a region of not just the state of California, not just the nation of America, but I'm talking the world. And that's Humboldt County, the true Northern California. It's weird to me when people, I don't know if it's weird, but it's the lack of accuracy when the general populace calls San Francisco, Sacramento, the Bay Area, Central California. It's not true. The real Northern California is Arcata. It's Shelter Cove. It's the national parks with Redwood Forest. It's the Lost Coast. It's a 3 to 4 hour drive north of the Bay Area. And you've got a million places to choose from to stay, things to do. Strongly recommend enjoying a meal at the Samoa Cookhouse. Please do that. But it's awesome. And the website, if you want to get more information, is visithumboldt.com to plan your travels, to plan what I think will be an incredibly awesome trip for each and every one of you. Do it, folks. Go to Humboldt and check out the website. Visit Humboldt. What's going on here? I don't know what happened there. Go check out visithumboldt.com for more information in terms of places to stay, things to do, and hit me up as well because I used to live there and I still travel at least once a year up to Humboldt County. It's a beautiful spot. It is paradise. So visit Humboldt.com. Today's episode also brought to you by BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform. Did the Warriors cover the spread tonight? I'm going to say I'm insanely confident. I did not look up the line again. I need to start doing that. My apologies. It's hard to find the lines after the show, and especially when I'm hosting a live program. But BetOnline's website, which is phenomenal. They've got a great casino on top of the sports book. If you ever want to know lines, check out their website. Start an account with the world's most trusted betting platform and have yourself some fun. I'll tell you this, my good friend Larry Kruger, who's not joining me tonight, normally he joins me on Tuesdays. He's with his boys down in Arizona for spring training. Side note, whether or not you're a baseball fan, spring training is awesome. Make that a bucket list item. Humboldt should be right at the top of your list, especially if you've never been there. But spring training in Arizona, that is an experience. So Larry's there right now. I evoke his name because Larry's been killing it, betting on the Warriors. They're covering spreads. They're winning you money. And if you need a sports book, go check out BetOnline. The game starts here. The Golden State Warriors, their game is on fire. Their leading scorer tonight was Mr. Wardell, Stephen Curry, playing the second half of a back-to-back. I mentioned this before in the program. The Golden State Warriors lead the NBA in back-to-backs. You can thank the association for their blatantly discriminatory behavior. Totally unfair. I don't understand why I'm one of the only talking heads on the planet who keeps making us think about this. Like, why are more people not bringing up the NBA empirically? The evidence is blatant, exhibiting bias by scheduling more back-to-backs on the Golden State Warriors schedule than any other team in the NBA. The Warriors, let me repeat this one more time. The Warriors lead the NBA in back-to-backs. That's some bullshit, folks. That is a blatant disadvantage in a association, in a league where competition is everything. And the NBA's literally giving the Warriors a competitive disadvantage by scheduling more back-to-backs on their schedule than anyone else. Again, it makes no damn sense given the Warriors play in the San Francisco Bay Area, and more specifically the city of San Francisco. If geography was a concern, I would think Portland would evoke more back-to-backs. I would think maybe Minnesota, maybe Miami, maybe the Lakers or the Clippers. No, but it's the Warriors. who play more back-to-backs. The good news is the Warriors' record this season in the second game of a back-to-back is 6-5. That's the record now after tonight. So even though the NBA is trying to screw the Warriors over, we already see it with the officiating in terms of the double standards, in terms of the hypocrisy, in terms of the blatant bias against Stephen Curry. Steph is not enjoying any of the benefits with the ref's whistle that a lot of other players get, especially superstar players. There's never been a quieter whistle for a superstar than Stephen Curry. That is obvious, and there were a few instances tonight as examples of that. But the good news is when it comes to the back-to-backs, tonight marked the 11th, and the Warriors are 6-5. I think an even more impressive record and a better record to highlight is the fact that the Warriors are now 9-1 in the Jimmy Butler era. That is insane. His effect is absurd in terms of what he's bringing to the table for the Golden State Warriors. There was a moment in this game, in the third quarter. So the Warriors survived the first half. And side note, if there was an advantage that the Warriors enjoyed in this game, given they were playing the second of a back-to-back, it's that Tom Thibodeau runs his players to the ground. They play heavy minutes, and tonight was no exception to that. OG Anunoby played 41 minutes, 46 seconds. Mikal Bridges, 35 minutes, 42 seconds. That's not the worst thing in the world, but it's still a high minute total. Jalen Brunson, the New York Knicks superstar point guard, one of my favorite players in the league. He is phenomenal. 37 minutes, 17 seconds. The Knicks are not a deep team. Tom Thibodeau, their head coach, does not believe in managing minutes to sustain the energy and health of his players. It's a massive flaw in his ethos as a head coach. And so with that said, you saw in the second half of this game the Knicks fading just a little bit. It wasn't obvious, but it was enough to help a Warriors team who themselves were tired in this game. And in the second half, where the Warriors, again, they outscored the Knicks 35-26, largely based on Stephen Curry's heroics. Steph really woke up in that third quarter, but that third quarter, there was a moment there toward the end where Steph was on a tear. And real fast, I want to read to you what Steph did in this game. First off, in the third quarter, which was his quarter, undoubtedly, Steph in that third quarter played 9 minutes, 19 seconds. He had 14 points. He's already the oldest player in NBA history to have more than one 20-point quarter in a single season. He has two of those this year. He had 14 in that third quarter. The Warriors were a plus 12 when he was out on the court. He was single-handedly bringing the Warriors back. Again, they were down 10 at the half, but Steve Kerr didn't want to play him for the entirety of the quarter, right? So he takes him out, and he took him out with about 2 minutes and change remaining. The Warriors were leading at that point when he was taken out of the game, 79-73. In a span of like 20 seconds, the Knicks were up. The Knicks scored 8 straight points, and just like that, it became 81-79. And the Warriors were trailing slightly at the end of the third quarter, largely because when Steph is off the floor, things aren't the same. And the Jimmy Butler experience is why, before he got here, I say this with conviction, the Warriors do not win this game. They were such a bad team when Stephen Curry sat on the bench, and you know the options of this roster. When there was no Jimmy Butler, this team struggled. And I'm telling you, they would have lost this game if it were not for Jimmy Butler, who played a massive chunk of the fourth quarter. And he was playing some great ball, folks. He was, besides the fact that he has been a massive catalyst for Buddy Hield salvaging his season. The same Buddy Hield that went over 2 months of shooting below 30% three-point shooting. Side note, the Warriors might have found a little elixir to solve the Buddy Hield problem, because Buddy, the moment he makes one, you can see the confidence come back in his game. He needs to make buckets to feel good about shooting. And this is the second game in a row now where Buddy did not start well shooting, right? In the first half of this game. And the first half of this game for the Warriors as a whole was awful when it comes to shooting. The Warriors shot just 21.7% from three in the first half. All right. The Warriors were 5 of 23 shooting from deep. Yet despite that, they were able to stay within 10 points. My box score says here actually they were down by 8. So regardless, I don't. Sometimes they make changes after the game. Maybe my facts are wrong by 2 points there. Regardless, whether they were out, they were down by 8, they were down by 10. The Warriors were shooting awful 3-point shots in the first half. Buddy Hield in the first half was 1 for 7 shooting from deep. That is not good. But what this team is doing, and Jimmy Butler seems to be the catalyst for this, is when Buddy is mired in these shooting slumps. And again, it's a very small sample size, at least in terms of what I'm witnessing with reintegrating Buddy offensively to get his shot going again. They're forcing him to make easy buckets, layups, putbacks, simple things. Because what that's doing for Buddy when he sees these short-range buckets going in, it's giving him confidence to shoot the deep shot. And despite starting this game 1 of 7 from 3, that was what Buddy was shooting the first half. More specifically, in the first quarter, he was 0 for 3 to start this game, shooting from 3. Second quarter, late, he finally hits a 3. He was 1 of 4 in the second quarter, but that one 3-point shot that was made followed up, I believe, I can't remember if it was a layup, what the 2-point bucket was. The point is, Jimmy Butler knows how to get his teammates involved. He is a very unselfish player, as you're noticing. Dude loves to pass the ball. Dude loves to involve his teammates. Dude loves to be in the flow of both the offense and the defense. And when Stephen Curry has to sit down to rest, you no longer have a liability in terms of a 5-man unit out there. And in the fourth quarter, Jimmy Butler was feeding his teammates, setting them up. He was also getting to the line a lot, which is huge, right? I showed the stats on last night's show in terms of the Warriors before and after Jimmy Butler's acquisition, where they were 30th, dead last in the NBA in free throw shooting. Since his addition, first in the NBA, a complete 180. So, and Jimmy Butler tonight, important to note, 9 free throw attempts, made 7 of them. He was getting to the line. He was making clutch buckets. He was getting his teammates involved. But this was still Stephen Curry's night because, again, without Steph, they're not winning any of these games. I mean, Stephen Curry is back to playing at an MVP level. And so, whereas the whole team was struggling in that first half, the second half was a whole other story. And with Steph in the second half, I mentioned his third quarter numbers. Steph in the second half as a total shot 7 of 12 from the field. He was 4 of 6 shooting from deep. He had 20 points in the second half of this game. He was a plus 23 in net rating in the second half of this game. Stephen Curry on a back-to-back was not fazed. The adrenaline, the energy that comes with New York City and playing in Madison Square Garden, that is infectious, folks. If you've ever been there, you understand. There's something special about New York City. In my opinion, the greatest city in the world. At this stage of my life, I don't think I could live there, but I respect that. People will call New York City the Rome of the modern era, the Rome of modern human civilization. I agree with that sentiment. It's a fantastic city, and the players feel it. I mean, could you imagine New York City with the privilege of a professional NBA player, the money, the connections? It's wild. They're having fun tonight. Draymond Green celebrating his 35th birthday, and Stephen Curry finishes this game tonight. A win in New York City. Steph has won 12 of 13 at Madison Square Garden in his career. The one loss, weirdly enough, the 54-point game back, I think, in 2013 or 14. He's won every other game there, and tonight is no exception. Stephen Curry's final stat line, 33 minutes, 6 seconds of play. He shot 10 of 21 from the field, just shy of hitting 50% of his shots. He was 5 of 9 shooting from deep. Again, the second of a back-to-back. That's over 50%, 5 of 9. That is damn impressive. He had 3 free throw attempts, made all 3 of those, led the team in net rating with a plus 23. He also led the team in scoring with 28 points. Stephen Curry, bravo, brother. Yeah, it's marvelous. It's incredible. He's going to turn 37 in 10 days. And he's still playing like one of, if not the best players in the world. The Olympics last summer, that was not a fluke. That was not an anomaly. Stephen Curry just had no help this season. And it's incredible what one player can do to change the fortunes of both Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors. I want to mention Jimmy Butler's stats real quick from tonight's game, because I've been hyping him up in terms of the minutes he fills for this team when Stephen Curry's on the bench. And like a lot of players, he had a somewhat slow first half. Jimmy Butler in the first half, more specifically, I'll read his exact stat line for what he did in quarters 1 and 2. Again, the first half of the Warriors trailed 55-47. Trying to understand how that worked out, because they were outscored 26-25 after quarter. Oh, well, okay, there we go. I figured it out. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the Warriors were down 55-47 to the half. Jimmy Butler in that first half at 6 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. He even put up a couple three-point attempts. And his three-point shot with the Warriors is struggling. He's only made 2 in the 10 games he's played for the Warriors, and that's okay. Jimmy Butler is proving that you don't need to put up 53s and make close to half of them to win in the modern NBA. The simplicity still rules, and Jimmy Butler is evidence of that. His final stat line tonight, 19 points. He shot 50% from the field, 6 of 12. He added 7 free throws, had 9 free throw attempts. So he was 7 of 9 shooting from the charity stripe, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and the Golden State Warriors come away victorious. The turnovers, or lack thereof, I thought stuck out to me for the Warriors in terms of the clean basketball they were playing tonight. They had 11 turnovers total. Stephen Curry had just 2 of those. I believe he only had 1 the previous game in Charlotte last night. Draymond Green only had 1 turnover in this game. So those 2 players are normally very guilty of turning the ball over, and that has not been the case recently. So it was the Steph and Jimmy show, and boy, did they deliver. There were a lot of players who stepped up tonight. I want to give some love to the birthday boy real fast as I pull a hair out of my mouth. Draymond Green, again, he turns 35 today. Happy birthday, Draymond Green. Incredible timing to celebrate 35 in New York City after a win. You have a day off tomorrow. You don't have to travel because they're playing Brooklyn on Thursday. I do wonder if they're going to switch hotels. I'll bug Kevin Dana about that. My good friend, the voice of the Santa Cruz Warriors, who tonight was filling in for Tim Roy. When you hear me say Kevin Dana, the voice of the Santa Cruz Warriors, and sometimes the Golden State Warriors, tonight was one of those sometimes. Kevin Dana was the voice, again, the radio voice of the Warriors, filling in for Tim Roy. I'm going to ask him, because I'm personally very curious, if the Warriors are going to switch hotels from I'm guessing Manhattan, which is where Madison Square Garden is. You got to go over to the borough of Brooklyn. I wonder if it's just a bus ride or if they actually do move hotels. I'm curious. I'm going to ask Kevin Dana, but kudos again to Steph and Jimmy Butler, a few other players real fast, and I'll post a link for the audience to join me if you want in just a moment. Brandon Pajemski, I thought, had a great game tonight. 19 points, tied for second on the team with Jimmy Butler. Again, Steph led all scorers with 23 points, but Pajemski made some timely buckets in this game. The hustle and energy factor was huge, for the Warriors. And Brandon Pajemski finished the game tonight, 19 points. He had some tough boards. New York is a very physical team, and they're some of those rebounds by Pajemski. He had 5 total, but they were big boy boards for someone who stands 6'4", 6'5", whatever his listed height is. But the 19 points were massive. The 33% shooting from beyond the arc, 2 of 6 3-point shooting night for Brandon Pajemski. So kudos to Pods, who also shot 50% from the field total. He was 8 of 16 from the field. And Buddy Hield, who I don't think we gave enough love to on last night's show. He was the team's leading scorer in that Hornets win with 22. Again, slow start, but he made some massively huge buckets in the second half. Timely 3-pointers that were backbreakers in terms of stemming the Knicks' momentum. Buddy Hield in the third quarter had just 2 3-point attempts and made 1 of them. Buddy Hield in the fourth quarter I don't know actually if he's going to have good stats. He only had 1 3-point attempt in the fourth, but made it. He had 3 field goal attempts in the fourth quarter, made all 3, had 7 points in that fourth quarter. He was big. He made clutch plays defensively. He was making some timely passes. If this buddy can be consistent, woo, I mean, the sky's the limit for the Golden State Warriors. They're still title contenders in my book, even if Buddy Hield doesn't show up certain nights. But when he shows up, man, is it a difference. And well, poor Klay Thompson is mired in misery in Dallas. I mean, in case you haven't heard, Kyrie Irving, we talked about him a little bit last night, but we did not know until today that that knee injury was a torn ACL. Man, Klay Thompson, is bitter in terms of the situation he is in versus where he could have been with the Golden State Warriors. But Buddy Hield, good job. Again, final stat line for him tonight, 15 points, 30% shooting from deep. That's not good, but when you start a game 1 of 7 shooting from deep, and you finish the game shooting 30%, you saved yourself. You salvaged your night. He grabbed 6 rebounds in this game as well, which are huge. So those were some of your headliners. I want to mention as well, Moses Moody, in terms of hustle, was fantastic. The box score may not reflect what he contributed on this night. For example, he was 1 of 4 shooting from 3, but that 1 3 was late in the game. I think it was a fourth quarter shot, and that's the good news with having an extensive box score that tells you what players do every quarter. So no, Moody's 3 was in the third quarter, I believe. No, when was that Moses Moody 3? My box score is telling me he hit it in the first half. My apologies. My memory failed me there. For some reason, I thought Moses Moody hit a 3-pointer in late in the game, but Moody actually hit that 3 in the first quarter. But the reason why I bring up Moody and praise him for his tenacity tonight, for the aggressiveness, for the undersized Warriors coming away victorious against the Knicks team that with Mitchell Robinson at times looked much bigger than the Golden State Warriors. They did not have Karl Anthony Towns, but Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby, those two were still a massive nuisance. And Moses Moody was second on the team in net rating tonight. He only had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. His first quarter assist, side note, destroyed my Underdog card, and I'm not going to mention Underdog anymore because they're no longer a sponsor of the program. We're going to miss you. That was a big one. They were sponsoring the Believe network as a whole, and they still might come back, but that's not a individual partnership where I'm talking to Underdog's founders on the phone, negotiating ad rates. That is through Believe, the network that our podcast is on. So no more Underdog mentions, but I bring that up because I did still make a bet tonight, and one of my plays was Moses Moody not getting a first quarter assist, and like one of the first plays of the game was a Moses Moody assist to Brandon Podziemski for a 3, but it doesn't matter. 9 points in this game for Moody, 4 rebounds, 2 assists at a steal, and the net rating, the stat that sticks out the most for Moses Moody, second on the team with a plus 21. Stephen Curry led the team in net rating with a plus 23. But if you're posting a plus 21, you're doing something right out there. I got to give love to Guy Santos as well. I thought his minutes were huge. It was an early adjustment in this game from the Hornets game, where the first 2 players that came off the bench in last night's game were Guy Santos and Buddy Hield. No, let me rephrase. Were Gary Payton II and Buddy Hield. Those were the first 2 players that came off the bench in last night's game. Guy Santos was one of the first players who came off the bench in tonight's game, and that was huge. I love this kid, and I apologize. It's not Guy Santos. It's Gooey Santos. Gooey Santos was phenomenal. I love this kid. I think he's going to be a long-term part of this team. 9 points for Guy Santos, a plus 14 in net rating, which tied Draymond Green for 3rd on the team in net rating leaders. 1 rebound, which is kind of weird. But what I remember seeing does not correlate with the box score tonight. That happens. Did have 2 assists. I just remember a lot more rebounds than just 1 for Guy Santos. But he also hit that huge 3-pointer late in the game, which, again, every time the Knicks were making a run, the Warriors were making these back-breaking buckets, whether it was Jimmy Butler getting to the free throw line, whether it was Guy Santos hitting a back-breaking three-pointer. His three specifically was, I believe, what quarter was it in? It was in the fourth quarter, late in the game, and his energy is infectious. His connectivity offensively, he's a phenomenal passer. You could tell Steve Kerr just marvels at how a young player like him has adapted to the read and react speed that Steve Kerr demands of his players to succeed in that system. And Guy has picked it up perfectly. I love the kid. Love him big time tonight, and love him in general. One last player I want to give some love to before I post the link here. I'll actually post the link now, so in case anyone wants to come on, you can do so. Always welcome other folks. The link is now in the chat. All you got to do is click on that thing. If you want to come on the program, I'll welcome you. You can talk about whatever you want, as long as you keep it within, a general code of conduct. Don't offend specific demographics, for example. But have your take. Talk about the Warriors. I got to give some love to Quidden Post, a player who I wish, side note, would start games. Only because I don't want Draymond Green to be affected by the wear and tear of battling bigger players in significant minutes. I never mind Draymond Green, the 5, in a death lineup, saving him for specific minutes late in the game. Starting him at the 5, I know it's your best option, but I just want him to be fresh for the postseason. Kyrie Irving, Sophia Jones made a great point about Kyrie and how his usage rate, his minutes, his responsibilities all went up after the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic, and that added strain on a human body could result in injuries. I don't want that same thing to happen to Draymond. That is my primary consternation with Draymond starting. With that said, Quidden Post came off the bench. I wish he started. There were a few moments. He has his rookie moments. Like sometimes he'll make a pass when he should just slam the ball. Like there are moments, and Guy Santos is guilty of this as well. And this is just the naivety of youth and inexperience, where they easily could slam the ball home. They could easily just put up an easy layup, but they feel the need to make an extra pass. They feel the need to exude unselfish tendencies. And you love that, but you also want these players to be aggressive and be assertive and score buckets when needed. And so Quidden Post had a few moments like that, but he had 2 3-point attempts, made one of them. That's 50%. You're happy with that? That was his. Those were his only points in this game. But Quidden Post in his 14 minutes, 51 seconds, the box score you read will likely round up to 15. Those were huge 15 minutes. He grabbed 3 boards in this game that were, some rebounds carry more significance than others. And the boards that Quidden Post were grabbing were clutch. The Warriors as a whole tonight finished the game out rebounding the Knicks incredibly, 44-42. The points in the paint battle, the Warriors lost that one. And that's a stat where when Jonathan Kaminga comes back, you're going to see that stat be won routinely by the Golden State Warriors. They lost that category this evening, 52-50. So it was very close. But the Knicks won the points in the paint battle overall. But the Warriors won the game, and that is all that matters. Let's go to aim and assist with that voice joining the show. How you doing, man?
What else, Cyrus?
What's up, Aim? How are you?
Oh, I'm good. What about you?
Doing all right, brother. I'm happy with the Warriors. Man. I'm not happy with this feedback that's going on here. I don't know what that is. I'm going to stop talking.
My bad.
Take over. No, you're good. Just take over. I'm going to shut up. Go for it.
First of all, don't try to discredit our win just because Cat didn't play. We didn't have JK. So that doesn't even make sense. And if anything, it's more of an advantage to us because we could just exploit his defense. So, I think this was a good win. I think Buddy really saved himself with that 3 in the fourth quarter. He's still dog shit though. Either way, I don't like seeing him play, but Pods is a great defender now, and I think that was a great win. Thought we was finna lose for a minute, but clutch game.
Big time clutch. How many mutes do you say that? There we go. So every time I talk, I'm going to mute you, just so we don't have that feedback issue. And I'm with you on the Karl Anthony Towns thing, where I didn't mean to diminish the value, the significance of tonight's win, given Karl Anthony Towns was not there, but he is vitally important for the Knicks. Now, with all that said, we know that there is a history of bitterness, contentiousness between Draymond Green and Karl Anthony Towns. And I'm looking at my phone right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, because I'm looking at the upcoming schedule. The Warriors and the Knicks will play each other again very soon. More specifically, it's going to be Saturday, March 15th. And that game's going to be at Chase Center. And you're probably going to see Karl Anthony Towns there. Now, the good news is, I'm guessing you may or may not have noticed this. And Aim, I'm going to turn your mic back on in just a second here, because I'd love to get your feedback. But when you play teams on the road versus home, one of the biggest differences that you will probably notice are role players making buckets when the Warriors are in their arena. That is one of the biggest differences in general between home games and road games. Role players thrive when they're at home. The comfort gives them that added advantage that, psychologically speaking, that increases their efficiency and their productivity. You don't see that same measure of success from role players when they're on the road. What I mean by that more specifically for tonight is Campaign was out there acting arrogant, talking shit, despite only scoring 5 points in this game, but he made a three-pointer. You're not going to see that when he's in Chase Center. Landry Shamet only made 1 3 tonight. It was a big 3. You're not going to see him make points tonight. Precious Achua grabbed 15 rebounds in this game to go along with 8 points off the bench. He looked like a beast, grabbing boards, being a force in the inside. You're not going to see that when they're playing at Chase Center. So with that said, I'm very curious to see how the Knicks respond in a week and a half when Karl Anthony Towns plays. But I'm also totally with you. And look, man, we're going to cover the standings in just a second. Dude, the Warriors are still in 6th. They're climbing towards 5th. I'm gonna turn your mic back on, Aim, because I'm curious to know what you think the end result is going to be for the Warriors with 20 games to play in the season and your overall feelings. Go for it, brother.
I think it's funny you mentioned role players, because the Knicks barely play the role players anyway. Like, they run their starters to the ground. It's actually insane how they have no bench and they barely play them. But I think we'll end up being 6th seed. I just think the Rockets, I don't think they'll keep losing, to me personally, realistically. But I think we can lock in 6th seed and definitely get in the playoffs, considering the Clippers' hard schedule coming up at the end of April.
Agreed. I'm trying not to talk too much, so I don't have a feedback issue, but I agree, man. Oh, the feedback's gone. I don't know what you did. Good stuff. Aim, I'm feeling damn good about the Warriors, dude. I hate the fact that it's a Tuesday because I kind of want to celebrate tonight, but we're in the early midst of another brutal work week, and what are you going to do? I'm feeling damn good about this Warriors team, man. What do you agree with me that they're a legit title contender, or are you gonna, or do you side more with a lot of these media types who are giving all the praise to the Lakers and to the Thunder, and they view the Warriors as an afterthought? What are your thoughts about the Warriors and the big picture?
No, I'll say this with JK, we can win against anybody. I don't care the matchup. Like Jimmy Butler, and then you have all the experience with Curry, Draymond, and Butler, and all of them, bro, it's over with. Like, if we have JK, we can win against anybody, literally anybody.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly agree. The Warriors made a move today. Before you go, Aim, because I want to get your perspective, since I know nothing about this guy. But the Warriors made 2 moves more specifically, but it was all in one transaction, or at least in one day of activity. And they, first and foremost, converted Pat Spencer to a standard NBA contract. So Pat Spencer is now a member of the Golden State Warriors, guaranteed for the rest of the season. Congratulations to Pat. Well deserved. That also opened up another 2-way spot. And the Warriors gave it to this guy named Brandon Key, who has been playing for Santa Cruz this season. Kevin Dana, the voice of the Santa Cruz Warriors and sometimes the Golden State Warriors, he's going to be back on the program soon, so he'll give us some insights. But do you know anything about Brandon Key, who stands 6'8"? He appeared in 38 games with the San Diego Clippers this season. He averaged 14.8 points per game, 8.7 rebounds per game, 4.3 steals per game. 4.3 assists per game, 2.4 steals per game, and 1.2 blocks per game, playing 31.8 minutes per game. I know there was a lot of information. And if I said earlier he played for Santa Cruz, I apologize. I was mistaken on that or misspoke. He played for the San Diego Clippers, the Clippers G League team who plays in the beautiful America's finest city, as they call it, San Diego, which means a whale's vagina. No, I'm kidding. This is from a movie. Do you know anything about this guy?
I'm gonna be honest. That's just another bag of chips. I don't know who to play that is. I don't know who that is, bro.
What kind of chips, man? What are you munching on, dude?
Lay's potato chips. That's another bag of Lay's that we have on the team. I don't know who that is.
OG or baked?
Baked.
I'd say I'm with you, dude. For some reason, the baked Lays are it's a winner. It's a winner. So you just like the plain, man. You don't put you're not a sour cream guy. You're not a barbecue. You're just straight up plain Lays baked.
Oh no, I was talking about him. I prefer sour cream.
Oh, okay, there. Sour cream's good, man. Baked Lays are good. Good stuff. Yeah, you're absolutely right, dude. It's just icing on the cake. It's a cherry on top. What the Warriors do. I do like the fact that this guy is 6'8", and I like the fact that that Kevin Knox, despite having a bad outing in Charlotte, Steve Kerr gave him another chance. This is like a whole new Steve Kerr we're looking at here. Everything I've been criticizing him for 2.5 years, it's like it's gone. It's like the Kerr that I loved, leading the Warriors to 4 championships is back. I don't know what's been going on the last 2.5 years that has skewed his approach, his mentality, his acumen. I'll even say that. Dude, he's making sensible decisions again. It's phenomenal. And Kevin Knox played 12 minutes, 14 seconds tonight. I feel like he was getting minutes largely so that the Warriors had some added size. Do you have an opinion, Aim, on Kevin Knox playing tonight? 14 minutes and 4 seconds. No, I apologize. 12 seconds. Let me start over here. I apologize. 12 minutes, 14 seconds. Sorry about the tongue twist there. What were your thoughts, Aim, on Kevin Knox? Not doing much. He only scored 2 points, made 1 bucket. But I thought having another 6'8" wing out there made a difference. What did you think?
No, actually, I was watching. He had some pretty good minutes. He had those 2 blocks. That was crucial. He had that tough bucket he pushed out, but it is what it is. And I don't know how much he'll play. I don't know how much he'll play when JK comes back, but he's good.
Agreed. No, I'm glad you brought up the blocks, dude. He had 2 blocks in this game. Again, I just love the fact that Kerr was riding with someone to give this team size out there, man. It's like we're not. And again, I don't know if that was because GP2 was out tonight. Side note, I know GP2's been playing great basketball, but I did not hate those Kevin Knox minutes, dude. I appreciate Kerr for doing that, is what I'm trying to say. Aim, any final thoughts, man? Before we start wrapping up the show and checking out the scoreboard and hearing some sound. We got Draymond Green talking on his birthday. Any final thoughts from you, Aim?
Oh, yeah, last thing, bro. Like, don't start turning on QP because of one bad game. Like, come on, bro. Like, he's a rookie. Like, y'all the same people that – no, it was people in the comments. Y'all the same people that want Kerr to play him 30 minutes a game, never rest him or anything, and y'all turn on him as soon as he has a bad game. That's my final thought. Like,
no, that's a good thought, man. Whoever, like, what was the criticism more specifically? And before you go, like, is it his shooting? Is it? I mean, look, he's a rookie. He's gonna make little mistakes. I always emphasize when it comes to covering the NBA, do not focus on individual possessions. There's a reason why stats exist that provide a collective total for what a player does in a whole game. There's on average 100 possessions for each team. It's why I never have respect for the bloggers out there who their entire like platform is, look at this one play and look at what he did here and he moved here and notice how Quentin Post did not adjust to the defensive switch, and because of this one play, Quentin Post should not be getting minutes. It's one effing play, man. Like, out of 100 possessions, it is not representative of reality. So what were you reading, by the way, with Quentin Post in terms of the criticism? Because I'm with you. He should keep playing. I wish he was starting games. He's a rookie, so you're going to see some mistakes here and there, but what he brings to the table positively far outweighs the negatives. What are you reading, man? Because I don't see anything in the chat. So what did you read? And so you could tell the haters to shut up.
Nah, it was earlier, and it was in Stream East chat because I'm not paying for a subscription. But anyways, they were talking about how he just needed a post game and he was bad today or whatever. But I think he's a rookie. He'll eventually get the post game anyway, and I don't think we need to criticize him heavily too much, you know.
Agreed. No, I absolutely say. Richard Marquez in the chat, Golden Dazer, great to see you, is asking, because there were a few moments in this game tonight where we saw Draymond Green giving some pep talks to Quentin Post. And Richard Marquez is curious, like, what was said. And there's a great, I don't know if it's a Twitter account or a YouTube account. He calls himself Legends. And this individual has a very unique gift of being able to transcribe what players are saying on the court. Not always, but he finds some very interesting content that he publishes. And if he can get a transcription of what Draymond was telling Quentin Post, I would love that. My theory is just react. Just let go of any mistakes you do and move on. Because I feel like and Draymond has said that repeatedly in terms of advice he gives young players is don't dwell on the bad things. Just move on. Just keep playing. Focus on the present. And I'm going to guess that's what he was telling Quentin Post. It also could have been a specific, strategic, piece of advice he was giving. Like maybe Quentin Post was not doing something specifically, whether it was offensively in terms of roles, in terms of the splits. Maybe it was defensively. He wasn't making the proper switch because, we see the Warriors defense playing on that string. It's that metaphor that you hear a lot in terms of the Warriors basically playing a zone defense, but not a zone, if that makes sense. They're just a very switch happy team that constantly is watching out for each other's backs. And maybe it was a schematic discussion. I don't know, but Draymond Green has one of the highest basketball IQ. So whatever he was telling Quentin Post, I'm going to guess it was constructive and it was wise. But that's to answer that. Aim left. All right, so there you go. So Richard Marquez, I hope that answered your question for you there. And again, I love the Quentin Post minutes. To me, I would prefer he starts. That is my honest opinion. I said that at the beginning of the show as well, largely because I don't want Draymond Green to wear down and not be fresh for the postseason. On that note, let's play a clip from this is not from last night's game. My bad. Someone posted a clip of Draymond Green from 2 games ago. I don't know if there's any sound. Look, it is Draymond Green's birthday. And maybe, here's some Jimmy Butler sound. That's cool. Let's do that. All right, here's Jimmy Butler. I like this. This is brand new. All right. This is in the Madison Square Garden locker room. This is courtesy of Anthony Slater, beat reporter for The Athletic covering the Golden State Warriors, and Jimmy with a detailed soundbite discussing Stephen Curry's gravity and how that helps him. Awesome. MJ, by the way, real fast in the chat's asking when is Kruger back on. He's at spring training this week, so we'll resume the dual streams next week. He's having fun with his boys down in Arizona. And again, side note, if you missed the beginning of the episode, go check out spring training. Make that a bucket list item for yourself. And why don't we listen to Jimmy Butler, who is discussing playing with Stephen Curry. I imagine it is a buttload of fun to have Stephen Curry's gravity. Let's hear how Jimmy Butler feels about it.
Where you guys use Steph to get a couple slips, and it looked like you were maybe talking to him on the bench. I mean, is that part of playing with him? Like, are you starting to see, like, I guess how you guys can utilize that more?
Yeah, I mean, he draws so much attention as everybody in the world, let alone this league, knows, and this team. So it's all about using that to our advantage. When he's on the perimeter, somebody, anybody, everybody, you got to go to the paint because that's going to be the most vital thing. They're always going to overact to him when he has the ball, even when he doesn't have the ball. So we got to start learning what to do if he does not get the ball. The rim's normally wide open.
Steve said that you guys have had a couple film sessions recently talking about just that, how to utilize that gravity a little bit more. I mean, has that been a topic? Do you feel this team getting a little bit better at that?
Yeah, I think so, but you got to want to do it. I think like when he's on the floor, you got to know if you set a screen for him, you're going to be the one more often than not that's going to go to the rim. Like when they high side him, he's so smart that he's going to go take the lay. But if he comes off of you to go shoot the ball, trust me, your man's going to go guard him. Even my man, when Redwood, is going to go guard him. So you slip in there. Dre knows has the ball. He's going to pass it to you, probably whether you're open or not. And then it's your job to make the right play, either a layup or kick to the weak side.
I mean, you're 9-1 with you in the lineup, but did this feel like maybe like the toughest win?
Man, all wins are tough to come by. So I think this is a big win for us, talking about turning the corner and how we want to play and how we can adjust on the fly and how we really got better today as a unit and as a team. I think that was the most important takeaway from this game. I really feel like we turned the corner.
What specifically?
Offensively.
Okay. With what we were talking about?
Yeah. Not only that, though, like helping myself pick my spots better to get in a little bit more of a rhythm. And I think everybody's always looking for me to be aggressive. And like I tell everybody, I can't help it but to make the right play time and time and time again. And I hope that that's contagious, knowing that just because it plays for you does not mean that it's your shot. So that's what we turn the corner.
I like that. That was Jimmy Butler, ladies and gentlemen, immediately following the Golden State Warriors taking care of business at Madison Square Garden. Stephen Curry has won 12 of 13 now in New York. Again, really bizarre that the one loss was that 54-point outing back in 2013, 2014, whenever that was. It was a career high for him back then. Really one of the signature moments of Steph early in his career. I noticed, by the way, someone in the chat, Barry, calling again. Maybe I'm taking this out of context because I'm not following everything going on in the chat. But I thought, if I'm reading correctly, Barry, are you calling the Golden State Warriors 2015 title, the first of the dynasty, a super team? Is that true? Come on, man, a super team. No one knew who Klay Thompson was at that point. No one knew who Draymond Green was at that point. In case you forgot, at the start of the season, David Lee was their starting power forward. That's a super team? I mean, Andrew Bogut was a good center. He was a starting center that year, but I don't think he even made a single All-Star game. Harrison Barnes was a kid. You're going to call them a super team because of Leandro Barbosa? Because of Sean Livingston, who was written off for dead after that gruesome knee injury? Come on, man. Come on. That is ridiculous. No, that was the 2015 Warriors were a perfect example of how you can construct a champion organically by drafting intellectually, by being wise with your free agent signings. None of those free agent side notes were superstars. If you want to call 2017 a super team, fine. They added Kevin Durant to a team that just won 73 games. I get it. 2015? Come on, man. That's a reach. That is a reach. All right. Let's go to the scoreboard. Let's see what happened around the association. And that also means we're going to get some tunes going here. So let me get that track going underneath me. It's the salve for dead air. The club beats. I haven't been to a strip club in a very long time. And I say that because the music reminds people of that. Anyways. And Shaquille O'Neal real fast. The game. Side note, this game was on TNT tonight. If you live in the San Francisco Bay Area, you could not watch the national feed. We were all forced to watch the local NBC Sports Bay Area feed. And again, Fitz is my boy. I know a lot of people have opinions about Bob Fitzgerald as the play-by-play voice of the Golden State Warriors. I have a long history with him. I need to get him back on the show, actually. It's been a couple years now. But my point is, we were not allowed to see the national broadcast, which is utter and complete bullshit. Do not censor people who are paying a shitload of money already to watch these games. And you're going to sit here and tell us what we can and can't watch? Come on now. Look, Giddy, I get it, Stream East, but if you're paying for like $100 a month for a live streaming service, I'm not going to go get some hacked stream for a low quality production when I was already able to watch the local feed. My entire point is, when the Warriors are on national television, I want that perspective. I want that broadcast. And I pay $100 a month so that I can watch it. But here in 2025, we still see these regional blackouts that affect people, whether it's a regional network imposing their will, whether in this case it's TNT getting screwed over. And I bring all that up because when you get blocked out from the national broadcast, you can't hear people like Shaquille O'Neal, who is on the TNT broadcast. And I'm not going to share the clip because TNT is very litigious and they're very copyright strike happy. Every time I post anything from TNT, I get a notice from YouTube. So I can't play the clip. But what I will tell you that we all missed by not having the TNT broadcast tonight is Shaquille O'Neal making the argument that Stephen Curry should be in the greatest of all time conversations. Shaquille O'Neal said, quote, "I played against Michael Jordan, played with and against Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. But at some point, you gotta put Steph in that category." I love the respect that Shaquille O'Neal has always had for Stephen Curry. Shaq knows greatness. He played with greatness. He is greatness. The man has even acknowledged that Steph has bumped him in the all-time GOAT ranking list. Stephen Curry bumped Shaq out of the top 10 of my list. And yet Shaq is still giving Steph love, still giving him the respect that he deserves. Kudos to Shaquille O'Neal for that. And F you to the NBA for your ridiculous regional blackouts. Bullshit. All right, let's go to the scoreboard. Someone in the chat earlier mentioned the officials having another bad game. Wholeheartedly agree with you there. Yeah, I didn't write down in my notes any specific plays. There was one instance though, and I saw Steve Kerr pissed off, rightfully so, which was I think it was almost like a repeat of the Charlotte game where Steph was called for a foul, and it was just a really ticky-tack play where Steph is getting hit like every game. Every game he's getting hit on his hands, on his arms. Jalen Brunson gets like a little touch on his hand, and it's like suddenly 2 free throws. Steph has to beg just to get to the free throw line. It's one of the most absurd things. Oh, and there was that challenge where Campaign was called for a foul. The replays showed blatant physical contact, but the referees have come up with a new excuse to screw the Warriors over. They use words like incidental. They use words like minimal, meaning now they're excusing the contact, saying it wasn't egregious enough. So even with challenges and replays, officials are still interjecting subjectivity and rigging shit against the Warriors. It's absurd. It is absurd. Campaign was running his mouth. I'm so glad the Knicks lost. First and foremost because of Campaign. That dude is such a nobody. And for him to be running his mouth and challenging blatant fouls, yeah, you made a foul. That's what they call Campaign. Son of a bitch. What the hell, dude? And they won the challenge. All right, let's see what's going on in the association. On March 4th, Tuesday. Why is it not Friday? I don't have an answer for you there. I'm really sorry. I truly am. From the bottom of my heart. Wish I could just move us to Thursday night, Friday night. Oh, that would be great power, but we're only at Tuesday. All right, let's see what happened in the NBA tonight on March 4th. We had a huge slate of games. The San Antonio Spurs defeated the Warriors' next opponent, the Brooklyn Nets, 127-113. Cam Thomas is back. He missed a bunch of games because of injury. He had 24 points and 6 assists. Vasily had 37 points, 11 rebounds, 4 steals in the win for the Spurs, who improved to 26 and 34. The Nets, dropped to 21 and 40. Minnesota Timberwolves, a team who's lumped in with the Warriors in the standings. The Warriors own the tiebreak over Minnesota. Good news there. Minnesota took care of business tonight, 126-112 winners over the same Philadelphia 76ers team that for one game this year looked like legitimate contenders. Of course, it was against the Warriors, and now they revert back to form. The Sixers dropped to 21 and 40. Again, Minnesota improves to 34 and 29. And in just a moment, we'll go over the standings to see where Minnie is in comparison to the Warriors. Friendly reminder again, the Warriors own the tiebreak over the Timberwolves. So if they finish with identical records, the Warriors would leap ahead. The Cleveland Cavaliers won tonight. More specifically, they won their 51st game of the season. 139-117 winners at Chicago. And their delicious sausage. The Bulls dropped to 24 and 38. Cleveland improving to 51 and 10. Jared Allen, 25 points, 17 rebounds. Newly acquired Zach Collins for the Bulls, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 3 steals in the loss. Milwaukee Bucks, 127-121 winners tonight over the Atlanta Hawks. Milwaukee improves to 35 and 25. The Hawks drop to 28 and 34. Giannis Antetokounmpo with a triple-double tonight, 26 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists in the win. Trae Young, 28 points and 13 assists in the loss. The Toronto Raptors, 114-113 winners tonight over the Orlando Magic to improve to 20 and 42. Orlando drops to 29 and 34. Game was played in Orlando. RJ Barrett, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. Very complete game for him. Paolo Banchero, 41 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists in the loss. One more final, and it's a final that means good news for the Warriors, folks. The Indiana Pacers. Thank you, Indianapolis. 115-102 winners over the Houston Rockets tonight. The Pacers improved to 35 and 25. The reeling Rockets dropped to 37 and 25. Alperen Şengün, 25 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists in the road loss. Tyrese Halliburton, sorry, Sac fans. Yeah, he was one of yours once, and you traded him away. Not a good move. 28 points, 15 assists in the win. 2 games that are going on right now that for those watching the recorded version of this, we don't have a final. You will know the final. The Clippers lead the Suns 65-49. Phoenix, side note, is cooked. They're done. So anybody that plays Phoenix, unfortunately, is going to likely beat them. Zubac has 15.7 rebounds in that game right now. Nick Richards, the team's center, has 10 points. So the Clippers, I'm going to guess, will win that game. They're going to improve to 33 and 28, which makes the Warriors win tonight all that more important because they're going to stay a half game ahead of the LA Clippers. Phoenix, if they lose this game, are going to drop to 28 and 34. And they're going to blow that thing up this summer. And last and least, because it's the Lakers, they're playing the New Orleans Pelicans right now, and they lead 36-23. Luka Doncic, 17 first quarter points. Zion Williamson with 8 first quarter points. And we now go to the standings, which suddenly has become my favorite part of the show. Amazing what happens when your team switches gears. So the Golden State Warriors with the win tonight are still the 6th seed. That's not going to change anytime soon, at least in terms of moving up. However, the Warriors at 34 and 28 now trail the Houston Rockets, a team they own the tiebreaker over. They only trail by 3 games. Houston, look out. Houston, we've got a problem. Hey now. Richard Marquez in the chat saying, nice to see former Warriors Ryan Rollins with Milwaukee. Yeah, we've talked about him a little bit earlier. Yeah, and immaturity, I think, was the biggest problem for him, Richard Marquez. I agree. Anyways, so going back to the standings here, because the Warriors are creeping up to the 5 seed. They hold a half-game lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves. So the Warriors are 34-28, Minnesota 34-29. The Warriors also own the tiebreaker over Minnesota because of winning the head-to-head battle this season. The LA Clippers, who won tonight, they're a full game behind the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are 34-28. LA 32-28. The bad news for Golden State is that LA owns the tiebreaker over them. Regardless of what happens in their final meeting, LA won the first 3 meetings to win the head-to-head series, which is the first variable in determining who wins tiebreakers. So, Dub Nation, you better hope that the Clippers and the Warriors don't finish with identical records. The Sacramento Kings are currently your 9 seed, also with a 32-28 record. The Dallas Mavericks, who I am curious if Dallas will even hold on and finish in that 10 seed, because Dallas, with Kyrie Irving now gone, who knows if Anthony Davis will even come back. Poor Rocco. I feel for that puppy. Hope he's doing okay out in the heat of Texas. So Dallas at 32-30 have a 3.5 game lead on the Suns, and that's probably going to extend to 4 after tonight. The Portland Trailblazers could make a run for that 10th and final play-in spot in the West. Portland currently 28-34, sitting 4 games back of the Dallas Mavericks. And then looking above Golden State, talk about the Rockets. Warriors trail them by 3 for the 5 seed. The Warriors trail the Grizzlies by 4.5 for the 4 seed. And the Warriors trail both the Lakers and the Nuggets by 5.5 for the 2 seed. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. MJ in the chat say Rocco's probably depressed right now. Dogs feed off their owner's energy. If Klay's depressed, so is Rocco. I hope they're snuggling. Good news is Klay Thompson is a multi-millionaire. So wherever he's living, he's got air conditioning blasted. If I were Klay, I just have that AC blowing on me and I'd have Rocco just in my arms and just using him for warmth. That would be my lifestyle in Dallas. Obviously, the PS5 would be on 24/7. Obviously, I would have someone hired on my staff just to roll honey blunts. In case you don't know what a honey blunt is, it is a regular blunt. And again, our sponsor, Visit Humboldt. I learned this technique as a student at Humboldt State University, now Cal Poly Humboldt, where you get a typical blunt. In case you don't know what a blunt is, and that's okay. It's basically a joint, but rolled in cigar wrapping. And side note, that makes it not good for you to inhale, but they taste damn good. So a blunt is a joint in a cigar, but then a honey blunt, you coat the blunt with honey. You get a butter knife and you lather the blunt with honey, not a thick layer, but you want to coat it. Then you put it in a toaster oven and you heat it up, and the honey will bake into the rolling paper. And you do that for about 2-3 minutes at about 350 degrees. You take it out of your toaster oven, and the honey's now baked in there. Every single hit tastes like honey. True story. So if I'm Klay Thompson living in Dallas, Texas, I would have a personal assistant driving back and forth to Colorado, because you're not buying weed in Texas that's decent. So you'd have to hire someone to go back and forth to Colorado to get your weed, if you want good weed. And then I'd also be having them rolling up honey blunts. And then so my Klay Thompson lifestyle would be PS5, honey blunts. He's a bachelor, so Instagram models, and Rocco, and air conditioning. Good luck, Klay. Good luck. Hope you're doing okay. Sandra's Rux in the chat saying the difference is our turnovers. Could you elaborate on that? I don't know what you're referring to. You wrote that over an hour ago. I apologize. I'm just catching that now. If you don't mind elaborating. Oh, Mitchell and Ness, you're saying the Honey Blunts were old school. So what's new school? Enlighten me on that. Adrian Gutierrez is saying there are kids in here. Dude, it's legal. I have revolted from the stigma of marijuana since my young years. Kids, don't touch the stuff till you're 21. But if the honey blunt is so dated, what's the modern, like, what's new school? Enlighten me. Oh, Mitchell and Ness is saying the new school is cannabis oil-infused joints. You think I'm not aware of that stuff? I'll still take my honey blunt all day, every day. Are you kidding me? Come on now. MJ saying to smoke out the pipe. Why? So you could fry your lungs? The heat from a pipe, man, that ain't good for you. Oh, Dang Dang saying blunts are old. That's fair. Plus, you could buy rolled blunts at the store. It ain't good for you. I hear you. But damn, does it feel good. And damn, does it taste good. Mindspringers, bringing up an interesting point. Mindspringers in the chat asking, do you ever notice how no one's ever rode on Klay Thompson's boat? Steph's never been on it. That's a true story. Steph was actually asked about that recently, I think during the All-Star festivities, and he said it's long overdue, but he has never been on the boat. I don't recall Draymond Green ever being on the boat. I do remember Moses Moody was on the boat, right? Bob Myers, no. I don't think Steve Kerr has been on the boat. Val Sharpton, bringing up the East Coast, blunts all day. Hey now. Armando Laura saying the reason why Klay doesn't have any of those guys in his boat. Oh, my screen stopped working. What's going on here? I have lost control of my comments. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That sucks. We have a glitch in the house. Well, anyways, maybe that's a good time to wrap up the show. I have officially lost control of the chat. I cannot hide the Val Sharpton's comment, which has an expletive in it, has blunts all day in it, and that's where the technology has frozen, and that's where we'll call it a wrap. Folks, this was a great win. We'll be back at this soon. Damon Bruce and I, 11 a.m. tomorrow. Come join the party. I really wish... Oh, Sandra's... All right, are we back now? There we go. I don't know what happened there for the 30 seconds I vanished. my virtual platform glitched on me. I apologize for that. Living room TV dropping $1.99 saying trade Kuma Dioker. Is that you failing to try and be witty with Kaminga by turning his name into the word mediocre, but saying Kamediocre? Living room TV. Let me enlighten you a little bit here. A, you can't trade him right now regardless. So your advice, your suggestion is not constructive at all. It's literally just you hating on Kaminga, which makes me then wonder, are you a Warriors fan? Because if you are, why are you hating on one of their prize players? Who are you going to trade him for? That's what I repeatedly ask every one of Kaminga's haters, or if you hate anybody for that matter, and you want them traded. Who are you trading him for? Because you better bring back equal value if you're going to do that. See, Fozzie in the chat saying don't waste time on him, but he dropped $1.99. I'm a businessman. I gotta address it. That's what you get for paying to get your chat featured. I will address it, even if the majority of the chat wants nothing to do with it. That is what happens. You will get your money's worth if you pay money for a chat. So to answer your question, Living Room TV, nothing constructive about that idea. Does it suck that Kaminga's missed 28 games now? Yes. But as we covered on last night's show with Sophia Jones, Dr. Nirav Pandya, the sports medicine specialist, good man, side note, made it very clear there's nothing abnormal about the amount of time that Jonathan Kaminga's missed, nothing abnormal about the seriousness of the ankle injury. He will be back, and you will be shutting your mouth when you see the impact of Jonathan Kaminga with Jimmy Butler alongside him. Oh, if you've been loving the Warriors now, wait until you see that. Oh, bro. Like tonight, for example, the box score has Jimmy Butler III playing 34 minutes, 52 seconds, scored 19 points, had 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Solid game. Not an all-star level game, a solid game, being the Robin to Stephen Curry's Batman. But I bring Jimmy Butler's stats up because his net rating was a 1. And the reason why his net rating was just a 1 is because Jimmy Butler plays a lot of minutes without Stephen Curry on the floor with him. And that has been the difference between the old Warriors, where when Steph was off the floor, they sucked balls. They were awful. Awful. I don't think I'm being hyperbolic saying that. They were a 500 team, and the only reason why they were even winning games is because of Steph. When Steph was off the floor, this team was trash. With Jimmy Butler on the team, he's playing all those non-Steph minutes, and his and Steph's minutes are staggered. So you always have one or the other on the court. But Jimmy Butler by himself, when Steph is not on the floor, is not going to always produce, like a plus 15 or 20. He's not going to be outscoring the opposition by large levels. But he kept them in the game. That +1 is huge because if Jimmy Butler was not on this team, the net rating for all the players not named Steph when he was off the floor would be like -15, -20. They lose this game. My entire point of all this is Jimmy Butler had a +1 in net rating tonight. Again, because of all the non-Steph minutes. When Jonathan Kaminga is back, Kaminga is going to be playing with Jimmy Butler in those non-Steph minutes. Thank me later when you see how awesome that is going to be. It is going to be some beautiful basketball that's going to make every other team in the NBA, literally, you will read it on their lips saying, oh shit. Because how the hell are you going to stop that? Until then, if you want to hate all you want, but be constructive at least. You can't trade him now. And who the hell are you going to trade him for? And again, Living Room TV doubles down, drops another $1.99, saying trade Kaminga ass ASAP if serious about a chip. There you go. You're getting your money's worth. I'll say that. Joshua Dave Labrador asking who is more dangerous, the Lakers or OKC? My opinion on this, because that's all anyone's going to give you is an opinion. None of us are Nostradamus. I'm going to say the Lakers, because the Warriors have already shown that OKC is a little brother. Anybody who's trying to be you will not beat you. And that is what OKC is. They're a team trying to be the Warriors. Good for you. You've emulated them masterfully, but you ain't them. And the Warriors have beaten them 2 out of 3 times this season. The one time they lost, they did not have Stephen Curry, and they lost by, 4? So I'm going to say the Lakers, just because I have no clue what that matchup will look like. I do think the Warriors will beat LA. I'm confident of that. Confident. But the Lakers still scare me more than OKC. Hey now, whoop that trick. All right. 99er Bang is saying, not hating, but I'm going to hate, that Kaminga will destroy Jimmy Butler's rhythm. Why would you assume that? Strongly agree to disagree there. I don't know why you would even imagine that. Those two are going to be on the exact same page. I don't know if you've noticed how much better Buddy Hield has been since Jimmy Butler has been on this team. What do you think is going to happen with a player with actual talent who already was an unstoppable force before you had a master facilitator setting him up for easy buckets? Living room TV. I'm going to indulge you here, even though you didn't drop another $1.99. What excuses? When Jonathan Kaminga plays, great things happen. When Jonathan Kaminga doesn't play, you get the inconsistency that you're bitching about. Steve Kerr is going to give him minutes. And again, you're going to shut up. The only part of Kaminga that worries me is the durability part. I don't like him missing 28 games. It's likely going to be 30 when all is said and done before we see him again. That part I'm not a huge fan of. Everything else, sign me up. I bought that Jonathan Kaminga stock when it was down in the basement. It hasn't made me a millionaire yet. It will. And I will hold that stock to the very end. Mike G saying, Buddy has not been good unless I'm missing something. Dude, he led the team in scoring last night. Buddy Hield scored 15 tonight. Played some clutch minutes. Am I happy with Buddy Hield? No. Would I rather he pretty much never played? Yes. But is he a million times better with Jimmy Butler than without? Yes. Hoping that's not too complicated. All right. Dino Manrique. I wholeheartedly agree with you there. Dino writing in the chat, I can now see the Jimmy Butler to Jonathan Kaminga dunks. It's going to be beautiful. And all these little outliers of hate and critics and skeptics and everyone who until now still thinks Kaminga can play entirely because Steve Kerr wouldn't play him. That's the only reason for your basis. And you little outliers, all the people out there who still are skeptical, you will be quiet. The durability part's the one thing I worry about a little bit, but hopefully he'll come back and we will not see him miss free throws anymore. And no, Living Room TV writing that Kaminga is a 69% free throw shooter in his career. I didn't know free throw percentage suddenly was like a make or break statistic for players. Do you want me to pull up all the other greats who shot around 70%? Come on, man. Are you a Warriors fan? I guess that's a question I ask you. Like, if you hate Kaminga, if you think that he shouldn't be on this team, like, are you a Warriors fan? I mean, this was like a lottery pick in one of the deepest drafts in NBA history. This is a player who, if he didn't have a coach who had no clue about how to develop players and who, for whatever reason, just discriminated against Kaminga for most of his career, he would be living up to the hype by now. You can't develop if you don't play. He finally is playing. Kerr's finally saying the right things. When he comes back, just thank me later. All right? All right. I think that's it. Mike G saying you mentioned 2 games. What do you want from me? Well, you want me to go look at Buddy Hield's game log? I'm not defending Buddy Hield. Are you disagreeing with me, Mike G, that Buddy Hield is playing better with Jimmy Butler? Do you not believe that? I don't understand what your point is. I don't understand what you're arguing with me about. I don't like I don't like Buddy Hield's minutes, but I'm not in control. He's going to play, and at least with Jimmy Butler, he's playing better. Is that? Do you just not agree with that? I don't understand what's going on here. All right. Niner Bang adding that Moses Moody has developed his game more than Kaminga this year. What do you base that on? What, minutes? Kaminga has been injured for 2 months. Of course Moody's going to be playing more. How has he developed better? I don't get that. Like, again, we finally saw Kaminga playing real minutes in the month of December. First time we had a decent sample size, a month, 14 games where Kaminga averaged over 30 minutes per game. Scored 21 points per game, grabbed 6.3 rebounds per game, efficient shooting numbers. I don't get the hate. And when he comes back, you're going to see more of that. Probably even better numbers. I don't get it, man. I guess you're just going to always have haters. What are you going to do? Good news is I'm not going to let them be the loud voices in the room tonight. Yeah, Adrian Gutierrez, I agree. The Kaminga hate is wild, and it's just going to always be there until he actually is playing consistently. Again, the durability part, let's hope when he comes back for good. Fozzie, I agree with you wholeheartedly that Kaminga and Butler, they're going to unlock a different kind of basketball. I'm telling you, man, when have I led you folks astray? Like, when have I ever told you get excited for something and then it was just a swing and a miss? Like, I'm telling you, just watch. Just wait until he comes back. And again, looking at the schedule, all indications are we will not see Kaminga play Thursday against the Brooklyn Nets. The hope is the first game will be March 8th when the Warriors host the Detroit Pistons in a game that suddenly looks a lot more daunting than it did a couple months ago because Detroit actually looks legit. So it's either going to be that game, it's either going to be the following Monday, March 10th, when the Warriors host the Portland Trailblazers, or it might be March 13th when the Warriors host the Sacramento Kings. That's a big game, by the way. So we shall see what happens. All right. Dylan Verano saying 9-2 and people still complain. 9-1. Jimmy Butler missed that one game where the Warriors lost because of back spasms. He missed the Philly game. And really the only loss, not really, literally, the only loss was to the Mavericks in a game that I think everyone who watched agreed was a joke. It was rigged. Just the most horrifically officiated game I've seen. One of them. It was up there. Armando Laura saying Kaminga has to play 30 minutes a game for the Warriors to have a chance. Agreed. And I think we're going to see it. Steve Kerr's tone has changed a lot since the Jimmy Butler trade. It's like he's resigned trying to force his own vision, which was clearly not a good vision. And he's back to just coaching and just playing what's given to him and rolling with the best hand. And he's already said that we're going to see Kaminga. Kaminga was already averaging over 30 minutes a game before the injury. You're going to see him play. Who's going to lose minutes in the process? Unfortunately, probably Guy Santos. You're not going to see Kevin Knox playing 12 minutes. I'm going to guess Kevon Looney's minutes will probably diminish a little bit. I don't think Brandon Podziemski will see a dip. Buddy Hield may or may not see a dip. It's going to suck. The Guy Santos losing minutes part, that's going to suck because I love Dewey. I love Gui. I think Gui Santos is phenomenal. All right. I hope Pinoy reformat. Young West 79 is asking, will Kaminga start over Moody? I don't know. I mean, again, to me, it's less important who starts and far more important who finishes. And the Warriors have I think they're 13-1 with Moses Moody in the starting lineup. So I don't know why you'd want to mess with that. Living room TV. Now you're spamming, and that's going to give me an excuse to put you on a timeout. All right. Otherwise, that is, I guess that's it. Warriors won. Warriors are now 3 games behind the Rockets in the standings for 5. We shall see what happens. We've got 20 games to go, folks. The Warriors are now 34-28, 6 games above 500. And I'll leave the show on this note. You're going to see a lot of Western Conference teams this month bloody each other with some hard-fought games, while the Warriors the rest of this month are going to be playing. Get ready for this. Brooklyn, Detroit, that's a little competitive. Portland, Sacramento, that's a big one, but the Warriors have already shown they could beat the shit out of Sac with in the Jimmy Butler era. The Knicks, again, at home. March 17th, that's the big one, folks. The Denver Nuggets, St. Paddy's Day, at home. Will the Warriors end a drought against that team that's dating nearly 3 years now since they've beaten them? It's crazy. And then Toronto, Milwaukee at home. That might be a little tough, but I think the Warriors can handle them. The Atlanta Hawks, the Miami Heat, the New Orleans Pelicans. That's your March. And now we know the great Rich Mitchin is also that other person. What is the value in spamming? What's the point? All right, that is it. Have a great night. I wish it was Friday. It's only Tuesday, but we'll be back at this tomorrow morning with Damon Bruce. Should be fun. Thanks, everyone. Happy birthday, Draymond Green. Go Dubs. It's going to be a fun 20 games of the season remaining. This is going to be a wild ride, folks. Get ready. And thank you. Bye-bye.